Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again. Please hit the sub button if you aren't already subscribed. Get ready to hit the like button or the dislike button, but if whichever one you hit at the end of the video, please leave me a comment. Tell me how I can make this better. Right, today's deck's a bit weird. It's a bit of a bonus deck for you today. I decided to have some fun a while back on the stream, and I built this deck and played it out, and it worked so well it was ridiculous. It is built with this as the commander, Morophon the Boundless. There's a reason for this. It's changeling, and it can be 7 mana, has all 5 colours in it, and you get to choose a creature type. And as you might have guessed by the title of this deck, as I've called it, it's all about the Phyrexian Praetors. Apart from one. I'm going to be honest, there is one I haven't got, which is this one. If you've got this card and you're building this deck, please feel free to add Sheladred the Apocalypse to it. You can take one of the cards out. I'll give some suggestions as go along. It's just too expensive at the moment for me to pick up on MTGO, and I still don't own one in real life. The rest of the Predators pretty much got for real life, and obviously I've got them all on here, but Sheldred at the moment too expensive, so just bear that in mind as you're watching this video. It should be in here, but hey, if it comes down, if it gets banned as I record this video, hopefully it'll come down in price quite significantly on MTGO and I'll be able to pick one up. But at the moment, it's missing from the deck. So bear that in mind as we go through this deck tech today. So here's the deck itself. 37 lands, all the multicolored things you could ever want. We went a little bit heavy on the forests. Everything else is like 2 of the basics. We've got 2 of all the basics in. A whole load of the cycling triome lands, whatever you want to call them. Some of the other lands, Razor Thick, Rejuvenating Springs, etc. Didn't bother going with too many search lands, but you know, it's going to be fun. Now, there's one reason, there is one card, and this whole thing is the reason I built this deck, and it's this. And I'm going to make it big for a second. Realm Breaker, the Invasion Tree. 3 mana artifact, it's legendary. Okay, cope with that. And target opponent mills 3 cards. Put a land card from their graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and it gains. If the land would leave the battlefield, exile it. Fine. Gives me a way of ramping. Nice. However, the thing I'm really interested in is the 10 mana tap. Sacrifice Realm Breaker, the Invasion Tree. Search your library for any numbers of Praetor cards and put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Yeah, we're going to try and go for it with this deck. And I've played it once on stream and it was so close. I mean, we won the game, but we didn't quite get the mind. We didn't quite find this and get the 10 mana put into it. We had sort of 12, 13 mana in play, but we never quite found this to do it. But it's the whole reason I built this deck. And it's just a fun, casual deck. I'm not going to say it's really competitive. Obviously, if you add the other Sheldred in I haven't got, it could become competitive. But this is just fun. So, the deck itself. All the lands are here, as you can imagine. We've got a serious amount of ramp, though. So we've got Lotus Bloom, Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Arcane Signet, Commander Spheres here. And then, you know, Cultivate, Search for Tomorrow. We've got them in. Now, obviously, I've got all the Praetors I can literally own in this deck. And then I had a load of slots left. I was like, okay, what am I going to do with those slots? Well, let's play the legendary Phyrexian creatures and go that way with it. So, the deck's a bit of a mishmash. I'm not going to lie about it, but it is so much fun to play. So, here we go. Varan, Executioner Thanes here. Creatures die, everyone loses 2, we gain 2. Elias, Ill-Call Sadistic Pilgrim. Another way of gaining life and making sure our opponents lose them. Venter's here just to give us that lovely wonderful token when it comes into play. And then, Voldalian Desecrator is also here. Draw a card, discard a card. If we discard an instant or sorcery, everyone loses 1, we gain 1. And then we can sacrifice it, and you can cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard this turn. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Moving on to the 3 drops. Kesset, the Flesh Sculptor, is a Phyrexian Human Artificer. Sacrifice 3 other artifacts or creatures. So it's going to be the creatures we're going to be sacrificing. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 2 of them in hand and the other in your graveyard. Yep, gives us a way to dig down to things. Cultivate, Search for Tomorrow, I've already mentioned. So Polychronos is here. We're going to, like I said, Phyrexian stuff. This is a nice one. I quite like Polychronos. I did a whole deck tech on this a while back, but I chucked it in just so I wanted a slot. Maybe the 3 green mana's a little bit OTT for this deck, but hey, it's going to be fun trying it out. Aaron Benalia's Runes here, which I have played and is really good. And then Broker's Ascendancy. I honestly could not find a better way of making my creatures bigger, and Broker's Ascendancy just does all the things we need it to do. The first of the Praetors is my alternate art version of Elish Norn, so that comes in. And then we've got Mundrak in as well, because I said I was going to play the Phyrexian legendary creatures. They're here. We've got a few things that make tokens, so this makes sense to have this in. Wrath of God's just purely here to help us control the board. Tekalutha, Inquiry Dominus. If you would proliferate twice. And then, are we going to proliferate in this deck? Probably not, but, it's got to be fun, hasn't it, if we can. Damnation's another bit of board control. I decided to play both the ones where the things can't be regenerated. Solthim, Mayhem Dominus is also here. We do have a few ways of pinging people, so, non-combat damage will get doubled, which is nice. One of the main ways we've got is Urabrask here. You probably saw the deck tech earlier in the week about this, or last week whenever this video goes up. I really like Urabrask, and I decided, another reason to play this card. Invasion of Zendikar is a lovely way of getting some lands out of our deck, and it also means when we can get it flipped, we get that nice 4/4 Vigilance Haste creature that's also can tap for mana. Rhea Ivor, Bane of Bladehold, comes in, gives us another way of winning. Basically, if we can make some mites and toxic people to death, I'm not going to complain. Urtai Resurrected gives a way of countering things and destroying things that get in our way. And Azuri, Claw of Progress, going old school with this one. We've got a few creatures with power 2 or less. We get the experience counters, and then we get to pump things around, which is nice. Also, we've got the new version from All Will Be One. Azuri, Stalker of the Spheres is here. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, proliferate twice. So we've got a slight way. So this is a late game card when we managed to get some tokens being kicked around. Ixalan, Sinian of Atrax is also here. Another way to proliferate and do some toxic damage. And because we're doing so much proliferation, Atraxa makes sense in this deck. And technically, it's a Phyrexian horror and it's got the word Praetors in it. So, it kind of fits in. Can't go and search out with a Realm Breaker, but we can do some of the other things with it. Elish Norn, Mother of the Machines is here. Get the double triggers on the go. Jingataxis, whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, draw a card. And then hopefully we can get the loads and loads of cards, 7 cards in hand. We need to transform it, because then basically we can transform Jingataxis, we win the game. Kizu of the Bleak Coven. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you pay 2 life and exile it. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's 1/1 and has Toxic 1. Gives us a way to save some of our wonderful Praetors if we need to. Drivnu, Carnage Dominus, dying triggers come into play. Not so much, but it's an 8/3 for 5 mana at the end of the day, which you can make indestructible, so it gives your opponents a headache. Sheldred is here in this form. In its battlefield, destroy target. Everyone sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Then we get to exile it and turn it into the wonderful version of the True Sculptures. Especially if we can get to Chapter 3 and get every single creature back into plans under our control. Skithrix. Yeah, probably makes you a target as soon as you play this, but hey, it's Skithrix, isn't it? Urabrask the Hidden. All our creatures get haste. All our opponent's creatures come into play tap. Thank you. And the other version of Urabrask gets us an extra card every turn, basically, and slows down what our opponents are doing. Icky Tech Salvage Splicer gets us a golem when it comes into play, and artifacts, get to put +1/+1 counters again. Just a filler. If you want to put something else in, this is one of the cards you can put the other version of Sheldred in. If you've got one, you can take this out and do that. Invasion of Chandalar is nice. This is one of the ones we do want to flip because it gets around all the casting costs. We can just put one of our permanents from our hand onto the battlefield on our upkeep. The new version of Vorinclex is here. Go and search for 2 forests, reveal them, put them in our hand, transform it for 8 mana. There's no other thing. You don't need to do anything else with it. You just pay 8 mana and transform it. There's no, like on some of the other ones like Sheldred, 8 or more cards. We're just paying mana for this. And you get to mill 10, 2 creature cards onto the battlefield, put some +1/+1 counters around, and then everything gains fight before it flips back over and you go and get 2 more forests. It's all good. Mirari's Wake's here, just helps bump up our mana so we can get there a bit quicker. And the other Visigras, the Doom Hive, another way of getting the whole Phyrexian toxic thing on the go. Omnath's also here. I just want another Phyrexian creature. Decided this was one was fun. And then we've got Invasion of Alaras here as well. Hopefully, when it enters the battlefield, exile cards from top of your library until you exile 2 non-land cards with mana value 4 or less. You cast one of those cards, 2 cards without paying their mana cost, put one of them in your hand, then put all the other cards exiled this way on the bottom of our library in a random order. That's great. If we can get the Awaken the Maelstrom off, though, we're in a really good position. I'm not going to read it all out. I'm hoping you know what it does by now. Geth is in just because it's a Phyrexian zombie and it gets us a way of nicking creatures from someone's graveyard. Invasion of Fleora, just to blow the board up with all the non-legendary stuff, and then if we can transform it, it makes life so much easier with some of the other battles when we get Marchesa, Resolute Monarch into play. Vraska's here because it's completed, and another way, it does give us an automatic way of proliferating, which does help, so it's pretty good. The other version of Vorinclex, get the counters doubled, everyone else's counters get halved. And Bruniclad, let's get some nice little Phyrexian mid artifact creature tokens, or turn everything else into something big and horrible. Elesh Norn, the original Elesh Norn's here. Bit of ball control. Jinga Taxes comes in from Neon Dynasty. Nearly said New Horizons, wrong. Get to copy our spells when we play them for the first turn, lovely. And the big version of Sheldred to control the board and nick stuff out of people's graveyards, or our graveyard, is nice. Yes, Itali's here. I had to play it. Obviously, I still haven't got a nice version of Itali, but this one's good enough. Get into the battlefield, everyone exiles, you get to cast all those cards and you get to transform it. Zendikar Resurgent helps us with the mana ramping, and then when we cast creature spells, we get to draw. And Zolpandrol Hunger Dominus is also here. Double everyone's toughness and power until the end of turn is fantastic. Nissa makes an appearance. Hopefully we can get this out for the 7 mana cost so we can instantly go -7 and win the game. Olvika Enigma Goliath, because we need another Phyrexian, so, they're here. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create all those goblin tokens, and obviously, as you've seen, we've got quite a few non-creature spells, 20 to be exact, so we get something off it. And the other version of Atraxa is also here. Let's go and refill our hand when we need to. The last 3 cards, Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, ramps our mana for us. Jinga Taxus, Core Augur, draws loads of cards and kill everyone's hand size unless they've got Reliquary Tower or something similar in play. And then the one thing I haven't mentioned is Genesis Wave. It is possible to get a significant amount of mana out in this deck, believe it or not. It may not look like it, but you can do it, especially with sort of like the cards that help us double up on things. Genesis Waving for sort of like 10, 12, 14 is not difficult with this deck. But as I say, this is just a little bit of fun. It's not going to be a serious deck with all the Praetors in it, but it's going to be a fun deck to try and make it work. So, hey hum. Hope you've enjoyed today's deck tech. Please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of it. If you don't like it, tell me why. If you do like it, tell me what you'd change in it. Anything is accepted. And if you're really very rich person and you're watching this and you see me on Twitch at some stage, you want to donate me a Sheldred to put in here, really appreciate it. I'm joking, don't expect it, but just hit the sub button for me instead. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. A little bit of fun for a Friday, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. See you soon on Twitch, hopefully. Bye.